Welcome to News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery.
Good morning and welcome to our program today, and I'm so happy to have our two guests here, and you're going to find out a lot of information that you or somebody in your family is going to need now or sometime in the future. It's such a pleasure to welcome Michael Ballard, who is a licensed professional counselor and the executive director of Agape Counseling Service, and also Casey Blackketter, who is also a licensed professional counselor and is a staff clinician and a lot of other things, a behavioral counselor and so on, with the Agape Counseling Services. And so you're going to meet them and hear all about the scope of their services and all the things that are available. And you or somebody in your family is going to need them sometime now or in the future. It's such a pleasure to have you. And before we get started, I want you each to tell a little bit about yourselves and how you came to be at the Agape Counseling Services. I know both of you co-founded this counseling service, but let's talk a little bit about you first, Michael.
My name is, Michael Ballard. I have been in West Texas for quite some time. Moved here in '79. My dad retired from the Navy. So I was an Andrews boy, and then went on to OC, and then went off to Howard Payne Brownwood, where my wife and I got connected, and then we married and came back here. My wife is, she teaches at OHS, has been plugged into ECISD for 16, 17 years now. And I've been in the counseling field since 2007. Graduated from UTPB and with my counseling degree. Before that, at Howard Payne, I actually had gotten my degree, bachelor's in psychology, and minored in Bible. And so
it gave you a good foundation for what you're doing
yes,
today.
Yes, it did, very much
and
so.
Then, and we'll talk about how you came to Agape, but first tell us about you, Casey.
Well, I've been living here for about 26 years. I was a fully ordained pastor, and kind of got burned out, beat up, chewed up, spit out kind of thing. And
as many pastors do.
As many pastors do. But I never lost my calling as far as being in ministry. I did a variety of things in terms of career, but eventually became a counselor, which is really the area of ministry that I had the most passion for.
And a lot of people don't realize how much pastors need sabbaticals, and so you can certainly attest to that. So you two came together with your common passion for counseling and also Christian counseling, and decided that there was a need for this in this area.
We did. In fact, it was in the fall of 2010, Casey and I had some conversations, and we began to talk about the possibility of joining forces with some other folks. And we talked about what that would look like, whether it was going to be a group or a counseling center, whether we'd come from a specifically Christian perspective, or would it be would we even deal with the faith dimension. And so we actually started conversations with folks, and by March of 2011, we actually began Agape Counseling Services. We got an Odessa office. We started off in this little office near, we still have it, near IHOP on JBS Parkway. We had 2 folding chairs, and for probably 3 weeks, I kept forgetting to buy Kleenex. People would show up, and I'd be like, "Oh, I hope they don't cry. Oh, I hope they don't cry."
But they will.
But they will, and they do. We got the Kleenex, and we have plenty of Kleenex now. And so that was kind of the beginning points. And Casey and I and Ann Killam were very key in this continuing to grow. Another major component was First Baptist Midland. Let us borrow some space, and we had that for almost 3 years. And had they not done that, we would not have been able to expand to Midland, where we are now.
And so I know you have a satellite office now in Andrews. Where
Yes.
are you in Andrews?
It's the Andrews Business and Technology Center, and we've been there for the last 2.5, nearly 3 years there as well.
But what's so interesting, though, as you've evolved and added staff and grown, now you're in brand new facilities.
Yes, we are. Midland Shared Space, we are so pumped about that. It was kind of just God's providence, I guess, how we rolled into that. We actually, Casey and I attended a nonprofit management center as they were talking about the possibility of the shared space concept. And Casey and I were like, hey, we're on board. Let's, if y'all have any more conversations, we want to be a part of that. And they kept us in the loop the entire time. And there was just 3 or 4 of us at the very beginning. We began to grow, and we started in those conversations with Midland Shared Space, and we're just excited to be there now. We moved in January, and getting to know some other folks in the nonprofit area.
And see how you can synergize.
Yes, absolutely. And we've already began to do that with Family Promise. United Way has given us a grant that covers sessions that we do for Family Promise clients, and we've been able to do that.
And we just had a program about Family Promise, and that's where you're dealing with a lot of homeless people,
Yes.
or people that are really scrunched up with several families living together because they don't have any other assets. And so there's a real special dimension in your counseling there.
Yes, there is.
Before we talk anymore about the services you provide, which is really a good scope of services, I want us to talk about what is a licensed professional counselor, and what do you do to get that certification?
Well, a licensed professional counselor is a license that comes from the state of Texas. And we've jumped through the various hoops that you have to do in order to be
taking
licensed
your boards
as
and all
such.
the things.
You basically, you have to earn, in essence, a master's degree. And then you take a national counselor's examination, and then there's a period of internship where you have to acquire 3,000 hours while under supervision. And after you've done all of that kind of stuff, then you can be just a regular LPC like us.
But still, an LPC has specialties within the scope of an LPC. You might really specialize, or your passion might be children's counseling. Or some of you really do almost everything, but some really have some specialties.
The counselors that we have at Agape, all of them in a sense are generalists, but there is also people that have a particular passion for an area or expertise in an area, and it may be just because that's their interest, or it may be just the way that their counseling has evolved in the clientele that they've had, and they've acquired an expertise dealing with a certain type of clientele.
And one of the first questions that my audience is going to be asking is, what is the difference between Christian counseling and counseling?
In school, when we were trained, they rarely address the spiritual dynamic. In psychology, there's a big clash between psychology and religion. And so, and whenever you talk to most counselors, you'll find that they will kind of neglect that spiritual piece.
And the mind, body, spirit is becoming more and more important. We're
Yes,
going to have
is.
to take a break right now. We'll continue this conversation in just a minute. Join us then.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.